Hi, I'm Joshua, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug.
Oh, everybody talk about Doug. Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We are here in Chicago, Illinois, in West Rogers Park neighborhood, and I am here with my good friend Koppel Levine. Koppel, welcome to the show. Baruch haba. We are here today because Koppel has a model train museum, which is absolutely one of the most amazing I've ever seen. And if you know model trains or are a train lover or knowledgeable about trains, you will really enjoy the show. So I hope you'll stay with us. Now, Koppel, growing up in my house, we had model HO gauge trains.
Yes.
And within there, my father built a whole city of moving things, mountains, went through cities and mountain ranges and so on and so forth. It was a beautiful thing. It took up our whole basement. I have pictures, but you know, it's something that when we moved out of the house I grew up in, never came to fruition. And what my father did past that is in his backyard, he did Lionel trains, the larger trains. What scale are those?
Those are O gauge, 1/48 scale.
Right, O gauge.
Yes.
And he did those through his backyard outside, around the yard. And he had a pond back there, so he went around the pond with it. It was very nice.
Cool.
And in the house, in the garage, he set up a table and he did N gauge, which are very small.
Yes,
and he built the whole city just on one square table. I would say it almost was the same gauge of what the HO was that took up our whole basement in the smaller scale. But it's a wonderful thing. Now, you mainly go with the O gauge, is that correct?
Entirely O gauge, yes.
Entirely O gauge. But you're knowledgeable about all the different gauges of model trains.
To a certain extent, yes.
Now, the most famous for people who live in Chicago of model train layouts is the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. And it's the largest, it's beautiful, it has multiple trains and multiple work. Those are HO scale, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
HO scale, the same that my father used. How did you get into trains to begin with?
Well, when I was a boy, my father bought me a small Lionel train set, and I took to it right away. And I was very interested in the model trains and actually the real trains as well. And it just became a very important part of my childhood and my youth growing up. And I never really lost the interest in model trains or, in fact, in real trains.
When I was growing up, there were two things that we used to do on occasion as a family. One of them was park along Irving Park Road, which you can't do now because it's against the law. And we used to watch the airplanes take off and land. That was like a family activity on a Sunday. We'd do for a couple of hours, watch planes take off and land. And the other thing we would do was pull over by the train yards and watch all the trains come in and out. My father was able to identify the different types of engines and the different types of trains and things like that. When you were a boy, did you go and look at real trains and watch them go in and out of rail yards and what they were?
To a certain extent, usually when my family went downtown, to downtown Chicago, there used to be, the Illinois Central used to have extensive rail yards down there east of Michigan Avenue. And I used to love to stand on the bridges that would go over the rail yards and just stand there forever and watch those trains. My parents had to pull me away, of course. There were all kinds of trains at that time, including many, many steam locomotives, which of course you don't see nowadays.
Now, when I was growing up, we didn't have the things that you have. We can hear the rail stations, the recordings of the rail stations, everything in the background here. Your trains are actually computerized to the point where you can program them to go places and do things in your train yard and actually make stops and do all that. Were you first doing simple train layouts and then you went into these complicated computerized train layouts where you actually can control them on a pad, on a computer pad and stuff?
Yeah, of course, for most of my experience with model trains, with O-gauge trains, the trains were operated conventionally with a transport where you adjust the flow of electricity to the tracks, and that determined how fast or slowly the train went. And you could do a few other things too, like you could blow a whistle, you could perhaps make a bell ring,
Most we had were the lights on the streets that flashed.
Right, you have lights in the street, the crossing signal, that kind of thing. You could activate couplers through a magnet in the tracks. So we had all that.
Yeah, the HO couplers used to actually hook onto each other. You would back it up and it would actually automatically hook onto each other and then pull. Those were kind of cool. And then you press a little button on them by hand to release them.
But that I was going to say is that in the 1990s, that's when the whole computer thing started to take off. First with the realistic sounds, they actually made real recordings of trains, captured the sounds of the engines on the steam locomotives as well as the diesels, the sounds of their whistles and their bells, their horns and so on. And then from there, the next step was going into computerized control. And then from the mid-1990s until now, the computerized control has just gotten more and more sophisticated to the point where, as you were saying before, you can basically, do almost anything you want from not just a remote control like a TV remote, but also from your smartphone or a tablet.
Now we're going to take a look at your gigantic city and the outskirts of the city as you have built. When you build your mountains and stuff, I'll tell you how my dad used to do it. He used to take screens and and build paper mache over
that
them.
Was the classic way.
And is that how you do it too?
No, but that was the classic way, and so many boys and men use that method for probably for decades actually. And now there are various methods that people use. Believe me, there's like
do people use clay? I was thinking of clay.
There's a multitude of ways that people do it now. But the way that we did, and this is my wife actually built our mountain. Here's
we're going to look at.
She actually used floral blocks of floral foam.
Oh, floral foam.
Yes,
brilliant.
And then she kind of like sculpted those a bit, and then she covered them with a material, which I guess you could say is a little bit similar to plaster of Paris, called hydrocal. And then she's kind of molded and sculpted that.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to take a look at your layout. We are about to go in and see Koppel Levine's Model Railroad Museum. So here we are on the outskirts of your town. What do you call this little extension here? What would you say that this is like the outskirts of a city, or?
This is supposed to be a little mountain town that's popular for recreation.
Oh, and we see RVs. We see RVs out there and buses.
Right.
And the beautiful convertibles.
And at the right end of it, it's actually still work in progress. We're trying to build a park that we call Pirate Park, hence the pirate ship in the middle of the park.
You even have a teepee here, I see.
Yes, we have a little Indian village here. We're out sort of like in the the mountain areas and so on.
And the light tower along the tracks.
Yes, and we have water running here. This is actually water running under this bridge.
And here we
are. In fact, if I press the button over here, you'll hear the water flowing. You'll hear some crickets, frogs croaking.
Tell me what this extension is here on this side.
This is actually still a work in progress. I have just recently added it, and we're still working on it. But it's intended to be a rail yard that we're going to use to store rail cars and locomotives. And also, and this will be the most fun part of it, we're going to use it for switching, which means we're going to use a little switch engine to come into this rail yard and to pull out cars to make up trains, and then later on to break up trains and put the cars back into the yard. And so we can basically give ourselves a challenge of, let's say, we want to have X, Y, Z cars put together in a train, and then we'll be able to take our switch engine into this yard and go and find those cars, pull them out one by one, put them together, and make up that train. And again, we can make up different trains as well. So we'll have that sort of constant challenge to be able to play that game, which real railroads do, of making up and breaking down trains.
So I'm looking at the bike shop at the corner of this with the motorcycles, which is very cool, and I'm noticing that there's a lot of realistic things on there. Did you go out to a hobby shop and say, I'm going to look for some perfect building for the corner of my layout, and you saw this bike shop and said, this is it? How did you come about something like this? Just how do you come about something like this?
I know I saw this someplace, but now I cannot remember where I saw it, and I was very taken by it's just a very cool building, as you say, all the detail, and very sort of atmospheric. It really kind of recalls, a time from, let's say, the 1950s, when you had shops like that. Even today you have shops like that.
Sure.
But very sort of industrial and
I notice on your tracks also very pertinent and appropriate is you have the two different kinds of stoppers at the end of the tracks,
yes,
which you see today at the end of tracks. Even when you're riding the L, you see either like the one here in front, which is black, or the ones with the pushes, where if it bumped into it, it would have a giveaway a little bit.
You are very observant.
Yeah, I did. That's very cool. And they would light when you bump into it, if it was touched. When you stopped, it would light up as a warning signal.
Right.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, we're going to go in now. The bridge is going to go up and let us in. You'll excuse the water as it lifts up. But someday it'll be a drawbridge. And stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. We're back here. We're now on the middle section. Koppel. The train's about to start. Tell us about this train a little bit that is starting to run.
Okay, the train we're starting to run now is a locomotive. There's actually about 70 years old, a line of locomotive, and it still runs perfectly. It's a wonderful locomotive. It was a very popular one in train sets back in the late 40s and 1950s. It's one of Lionel's classic locomotives.
And there's a tug of war going on while it's going by.
Yes, that's happened as well. I'll speed it up a little bit. There we go. Of course, kids, when they had their train sets, always used to like, myself included, to run the locomotives as fast as they could without them running off the track. But as an adult, we tend to run our trains
a little bit slower to enjoy them.
Right, exactly. Slower and even slower, just to really enjoy everything about the way that we can run. Is that cool or what?
I love it. I love it.
And look at that smoke. Wow.
Beautiful.
As I say, the 1940s, 1950s technology. It's all electromechanical.
So many cool things in this little town here. You have like this playground over here going on. You have a lot of billboards, water towers. Look at this. A real water tower over here. It's beautiful.
Something very cool.
And every time it goes by, the doors open, the gate comes down. Yeah, very cool.
In fact, at the train station here, Rabbi Doug, it's really kind of cool, I think. You can see inside the benches and the people waiting and so on.
Inside
and an actual model train layout within the model train station.
That's so cool. Look at that. Look at that. And over here, I see a spearmint gum billboard. Very nice. And I'm noticing, I want to come around this way a little bit. Over here is a synagogue.
Yes, that's a shul. And actually, my sister made that shul for my train layout when, I was a boy and she was a little girl.
Wow.
And I have it to this day.
Wow, wow, wow. So.
Oh, by the way, don't miss the sukkah over here.
Oh my goodness, here we go. I have to focus in on that. That is great, a sukkah.
We have a produce stand here selling fresh fruits and vegetables.
Very nice. I love the classic cars too.
Lots of classic cars, yes.
Love it, love it. So, can more than one train run on this middle city track at once?
Absolutely. In fact, I would say we can run probably 3 trains, a trolley, and what's called a gaming car.
Oh, I would love to see them. I'd love to see them.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, the next train we're going to start up is the Santa Fe Super Cheap over there. Okay, here we go. There we go.
There she goes.
There she goes. Okay.
There's your passenger train.
That's right. And slow the horn.
So cool.
Okay. And now
And I love the bridge, by the way. The bridge is great with the street going underneath it here.
oh yes, thank you. We start up now the Rock Island GP7 over here.
Okay.
And this one I can operate either by conventionally with the transformer control, or through this remote, or even using the iPad or a smartphone. And I'll use the remote this time.
Okay, we're doing by remote.
Start it up.
There she goes. With the caboose, with the caboose.
There you go.
Now we've got 3, but you have a 4th one on here too, don't you? A trolley?
No, we have 3 trains. We have a trolley we can add. Let's add the trolley.
There she goes. How
It goes
great.
Back and forth down the main street of the town.
How cool. And Koppel, you are about to do the outside trains. What's the first thing we're going to see?
The first thing we're going to see is a large, very large steam locomotive. It's called an articulated steam locomotive. You'll see why when you see it running. It actually has, the chassis is actually in 2 sections. And this is true to the prototype locomotive. And it's pulling a passenger train. And you'll see it actually run for about 5 minutes all by itself, doing all kinds of things, pulling to the station, leaving the station. You'll hear announcements about the dining car and so on, about dinner being served and things like that.
Very nice.
Announcing the arrival and so on. And
we're going to see an animated train station. We're going to see things along the way that are animated all along the way with this.
All that will happen without anybody doing anything.
And so this is you set this up computerized.
Yes, we'll push one button on this remote, and it will start. You tell me when to do it.
All right, we're all set.
Okay, here we go.
I see the engine right there.
Push the button, and it's going to go from there.
And I see it light up.
I'm putting the remote down.
All right.
You may have heard 2 switches just.
I heard switch to switch.
Yeah. Yep. Power came on.
I love the recordings.
See this huge locomotive right through downtown.
There go the light. There go the switch lights as it passes the road.
Right. It's going to pull up so that the passenger cars are by the passenger platform. Yeah, since it's all by itself, I'm not doing anything whatsoever.
Attention travelers, the Columbian is now departing. All aboard, folks! All aboard! All aboard the Columbian!
Doug, you may have noticed the passengers have left
They disappeared, yeah?
the platform and are now on the train, so to speak. The train's about to leave the station. You can see the smoke coming from the steam locomotive.
Oh yeah, look at that.
There it goes. It's off on its journey. Go around about 3 times, and then you'll hear various announcements while it does.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Tickets, please.
Look at that.
Ladies
merry-go-round, the train stop, the windmill, another water tower, the amusement park.
Ladies and gentlemen, the dining car is open for confirmed seating. The dining car is
Here they come.
the dining car is open for drinks and snacks.
Here they come to the station.
Attention travelers, the Columbian is now arriving. Watch your step. Mind the gap. Please hold the railing as you step down. Pick up your bags at the end of the platform.
The realistic sounds are amazing.
They are. And as I said before, they recorded from actual locomotives. They're not just digitally synthesized sounds. So now it's backing onto the siding where we'll rest for a while before it's next run. We have a train over here
Okay.
on the inner track, not the middle track, I
Yeah.
should say, that's actually pushing a train with a pushing the back with a from the
A
front.
caboose in the
Yeah,
caboose
with
in
a
the
caboose
front.
at the other end, yes. And that caboose has a camera in the cupola, and what it does is it gives you a passenger's eye view of what this layout looks
So let's see
like.
if we can see it go around and then focus in on the on that camera that it has. That would be really cool.
Okay, so let's start.
We are moving. Over. Roger that. Yardmaster out. Yardmaster, I've got 3/4 of a tank. Out.
Okay, now I will get the camera.
Now this switch just switched
How about that?
on the tracks to allow it to go onto the main road, onto the main tracks.
Okay, I'll take out my iPad
Okay.
and put up the camera.
I'm looking at all these animations in the amusement park. Amazing.
First, why don't we add the big cop? That would be fun to see too.
That would be fun.
All right, let's do that. Here comes the big cop. That's
Oh, there it goes.
Now, let's put the camera up. Okay.
So many animations. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
There's a campfire going right here.
It's a whole campfire.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can hear the fellow playing the banjo. And we might as well add the cow from the farm.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, here we are watching the view from actually inside the train.
This is now.
This is what this layout looks like if you were actually on the train.
So let me focus in on this. This is the caboose camera, which is leading the train right now because it's being pushed by the engine. Wow. How real.
It really kind of makes the layout come that much more to life. You can kind of really imagine that much more the idea of being in the layout and what it would be like.
This is amazing. I'm loving this. Now it's passing the train we watched before.
And with this, I can actually be in another room or upstairs, whatever.
Watching trains.
And watch it and run it. Very good. Okay. This is the icing station. This gentleman here on top of the ice station is pushing huge blocks of dry ice into the top of the refrigerated car.
That is absolutely amazing.
And there you go. He did his job. He finished.
What are we going to see now?
We're going to see the forklift over here with a hard-working forklift driver unload this lumber from the red flat car. He's very, very reliable. Works very hard. There he goes.
Wow. That is so cool. We will take a look at the lumber yard now.
All right. Rabbi Doug, tell me when you're ready and we'll start cutting with timbers.
All set.
Okay, here we go. You see timbers going in over the conveyor, and in one hand, look at that! It's cut into a beautiful piece of finished lumber. Amazing.
That's so cool.
This actually goes back to the 1950s. The engineering that Lyman had at that time, and still does, is remarkable.
Amazing.
We have two more
Last log.
Okay,
I love it.
and we are done. Good job.
I love it. And here we go, adding a second train to the outside tracks. Now, do this type of engine run on coal or electricity? What did it run on?
This one ran on oil.
On oil?
Yes.
Oil,
This
wow.
is one of the later steam engines, built probably in the 1940s sometime. And at that point, they were starting to use oil to a certain extent in steam locomotives.
Here he goes into the bridge, and the other train is coming around.
And that one I need to restart. Okay, let's restart that one. Get out of the way. There it goes. Okay.
Well, I can't tell you how great this was. This is a not-for-profit, this is a hobby of yours, and it's an amazing hobby, and there are a lot of hobbyists out there, and one of the most exciting hobbies, in my opinion, because I grew up with it, is model railroading. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
It's a pleasure to share it with you.
And I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for being with us. Remember, you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com. We can also see former shows on the web. If you want to email Koppel or me, you can email us at info@tvrabbi.com. You can ask him anything about model railroading. I'll forward it on to him, and I know he'll get back to you. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay with us each week right here on Tape with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone, and watch the railroads.
This has been a Tape with Rabbi Doug production.